make it out the ice cold streets of the city. You better have a Christopher word game with it. You better have a dance game similar to Diddy, or play b-baller but a rim like Smitty. Josh, Chris, Bosh, Paul, Gasol.
Welcome to the Pintcast. I'm joined this week by Fox soccer analyst and ex-footballer extraordinaire Mario Melchiot. It's a pleasure to have you, Mario.
Thanks for having me, man. It's always good seeing you.
You can follow him on Twitter at Mario Melchiot. It's been an exciting week in football. One of your former teams, Chelsea Football Club, have taken large steps, giant steps, towards winning the Premier League title. I know they got the result against Leicester today, but let's start at the weekend. What were your thoughts on how Chelsea came out and played against Arsenal?
I mean, you always knew there was going to be a game like that, away from home. They knew that they didn't have to entertain anybody, because when you come away from home, your objective is not by entertaining them. You're not at home, so Arsenal had to entertain. And of course, I feel like they did. They tried. They did whatever they could do. But Chelsea just did what they could at. They just defensively, they're really good. And I feel like, because I'm a defender myself, you got to be an artist to be able to defend good.
Indeed.
Because if you can't defend really well, you won't be able to win games. Except, like Louis van Gaal used to tell us, if you score more goals than your opponent, you never have to worry about defending. But you still got to do it.
Indeed. So, yeah, it was a pragmatic approach. I mean, what would you say that formation was, a 4-6-0 in that match? I mean, I know it was more complex than that, but really there wasn't a recognized striker on the pitch. All midfielders. You kind of had Oscar playing up towards the top. And really the plan only had to change once Oscar had to come off with a concussion. Do you think that pragmatic football, in terms of just going out and getting the result that's necessary, is undervalued in modern football?
I mean, the Italians did it for years, you understand? So it's not like a game of playing that is new to soccer. And I understand from people's point of view, the ones that want to watch football in the attacking way, and I'm a big fan of Arsenal too, because I like the way they play. But you also have to be able to play the opposite, because when I was playing at Ajax, they play similar as Arsenal played. So I understand that the Arsenal fans will probably look at it and go like, hey, come on, play against us. But when I was at Ajax, some teams would not play against us, and they will play identical to Chelsea. And then on the other side, you ask yourself, if this is getting them results, why would they change their formation? Because when Arsenal plays in that particular way, how they play, they don't change their formation. They keep going at it. But then and I agree, when Oscar was playing on top, he did it on purpose, because it was very hard for meta soccer to pick someone up, because he doesn't always know if he's got to push forward or he drops off. And when you get moments like that, when you create that for your defense, when they don't know when to push forward or drop off, that's when you penetrate. Because that's exactly what Barcelona did with Messi in the beginning sometimes. They play him on top, but nobody wants to pick him up. Because you don't know, do you go close to him or do you drop off and expect your midfielders to pick it up? And that's what Mourinho was creating for Arsenal. Getting them that feeling like, what do you do as a defender? Because every time is a different midfielder in front of you. And it was working.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was working till the point probably when Oscar got injured. Then we started seeing the difficulties for Chelsea, and they started defending more the second half, and now seeing out the game.
So this side, crashed out of the Champions League much earlier than they would have liked to. Where do you think this Chelsea side ranks? I mean, because I think it's fair to assume that now they are officially going to win the title. One more win. If they win this weekend at Crystal Palace, the title is officially theirs. Do you think this title-winning team stacks up against the other Chelsea champions of the past? I mean, granted, there's the other teams that Jose won with.
It's slightly different. Why it's different? Because going forward, I think they had more to offer. You had Drogba in his prime, you had Robin, you had Joe Cole, Damien Dove, and I remember me playing against them, and it took them a split second to hit you on a counter-attack. The way Mourinho is playing is no different, because they had Makalele, now they have Matic playing the same kind of role.
Right.
It's a different player, but he's doing the same job, and he always has one star player, and the star player now at this point, he always picks them. He had Wesley Sneijder at Inter Milan.
Right.
And now he's picking Hazard.
Yeah, Hazard.
That's his star man. He made it clear. He said, this is my player. I like him. I will do whatever it takes to make him even better than he is already. Because he started complaining about him when he wasn't tracking back. And look at Hazard now. He's a changed player.
Right.
Because players like Hazard, it's very hard to play them in the middle sometimes, because You play them out on the flanks because if they mess up, you get players to cover up for you. And that's what they did with Ronaldinho, you know. He became a left wing only because of that reason, because they needed to balance it out. But I do agree with you. Like, it's a slightly different team. It is because sometimes they're out of balance. And I like William, and he has great pace, is a great player. But sometimes what you miss is if you play him sometimes slightly in the middle, that pace that he has going forward. I saw him today, you know, like I saw him against Leicester going forward. There were a couple of times he broke in the second half. It was extraordinary. So quick, so powerful. And sometimes I feel like on the flanks, he can't always show it because he does his job to balance the team, but he doesn't, you know, always capable of really hurting people.
I think he's a bit of a glue guy for them. It reminds me a little bit about another former compatriot of yours, Dirk Kuyt, in terms of the way he fit into those Liverpool sides. In terms of, look, it seems like he's the perfect Mourinho player. He's so hardworking, you know, the industrious rate that Willian does, and like you said, you know, he can go missing in a game in a sense that you won't see a big influence in terms of on the ball stuff, but the off the ball stuff, the pressing, the work that he does, his work rate makes him invaluable to the team.
I agree. I totally agree, because that's why he's so good and that's why he's in that team. But on the other side, I feel like if they would have like a slightly different player on that side, maybe tuck him in, you understand? Because I don't think he's a player for on the bench. He's too good to be on the bench. That I do agree with. But
it's interesting because they have Cuadrado now too, and he's the one riding the bench, right?
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, they brought him in, but when they tried him, you could see that he's still searching and looking for where to play. Because, guys, to be honest, the English Premier League is not just an average league. It's the league where a lot of stars come and either push their stardom to a different level or they fail.
Right.
Because the pace of the game, the fans, the noise, just the expectation level, it's incredible. Don't get me wrong, you have it in Spain, you have it in Italy, you have it in France. There are so many leagues who have that. You have it in America too. But the only situation is, the only place where you have that intensity of your fans is only in England. Except if you go maybe to the Classico and games like that. But in England, it's just every week. Some other countries have it on a particular weekend.
Sure.
But in England, it's every week. You could play against Leicester. You can play against any lower team.
Yeah, those cup games, those tight little grounds, you know, the local derbies. I mean, every time I see a team in the Premiership go to, you know, a QPR or like a Crystal Palace, these tight little grounds, stuff like that, or even when Fulham was in the league, you know, Craven Cottage, you know, you have all these intimate grounds where they're on top of you, and that really is unique to the English atmosphere.
Yeah, and even, you know, when you go there, if you see the dressing room, you'll be shocked. You know how
the size of this?
Yeah,
you guys are just in a huddle, basically.
You know, I know, but when you turn up, you're already intimidated by going into the dressing room. You know it's small. Like, it's that small that the players who aren't starting have to wait outside till we dressed.
Wow.
That small it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will go to Fulham and we'll be like, hey guys, some of the guys got to wait outside because it's just...
Yeah, there's no room to
you can't move, you know, and but it's good. But then when you go on the ground, and I agree with you, it's so intimidating because, you know, if you don't start off well, their fans are going to be on your back and you're always playing against them. And I've played on both sides of the medal. You know, I have played on one where I was going for titles and one where I was trying to beat the team that is a title contender.
Sure.
So I know exactly how it feels in both worlds.
Right.
So I knew what my philosophy was when I was like lower down the table and fighting to stay in and being a respectful team, trying to create that. And I've been at the team that needs to win silverware every season, in and out.
Right. So what are your thoughts? I mean, we're still on Chelsea right now. Give me your thoughts about them going forward. Do you think this is something they can sustain? You know, do you think they're going to be, I mean, I think they'll still be competing for championships next season. But what do you see for them going forward? And what do you think they can do to make the next step and have success on the European stage again?
Knowing Mourinho, he's won the title so many times. I think he's going to go for the Champions League.
Right.
Because that's the big one, you know. I'm sure.
And it's the one for him that, look, he's won it several places, but he didn't deliver it in Spain, and he hasn't delivered it in England yet.
That's why. So I know, you understand, that's one of his points. I was at Stamford Bridge a couple of weeks ago, and I bumped into him. We had a little chat. Just the way he is as a man, it's kind of funny, you know. Like, he sees me, walks up to me. the way he shakes your hand, you can see already what he means with that. You know, saying like, "Hey, how are you, buddy? How's it going? Good seeing you." Because I was close to the dressing room, the area where you normally don't go, of course. So we spoke a little bit. He said, "Good seeing you. How's it going? What are you up to?" And just like different than what we see on TV.
Right.
Because way warmer, way more closer to me, the way he spoke to me. You know,
Indeed.
and made me feel welcome. And coming from him. He's the man in charge, and that's why I'm saying also, inside is when people see people like Mourinho going in front of the camera and talking. It's also a game, man. What he's playing.
Always.
Yeah, it's a game because he's a real man. It's not like he's a puppet, you know. It's a real man, and his proud is very, very important to him. So I expecting him. He's gonna go for the Champions League. He's gonna try to make his team better than it is already because he knows, like, if you win games and you won the league already in this way, you know other teams are gonna answer.
Sure.
You know Arsenal is already getting ready. You know Man City, Manchester United, they're all preparing and all focusing on saying like, hey, we want to hurt them back. Liverpool's going to come out, you understand? Now, Southampton did well in the beginning. Now it's maybe a bit up and down. But, hey, you come in the league, you stay in the league, and you're staying in that way in the league. I mean, you can't complain about it,
Well, we've seen it. You know, it's extremely hard to repeat. You know, we've seen that with all the past few titles. It's been quite a few years since we've had anyone repeat. But, you know, Mourinho obviously has his critics for the style of play. I mean, you're in touch with the Chelsea fan base. I mean, how many of them want to see a different style of play or something more attacking? Because that's obviously something he's been under big criticism for, you know, and then he's come out with his rebuke, right, to Arsene Wenger, right? What boring is not winning a title in 12 years. Which, you know, look, that's his prerogative to say, you know. It's been, or 11 years, whatever it is. And, but... This is a reason why they, you know, the people in Madrid didn't love him because he didn't play the football they wanted. Look, you know how it is in Madrid; they want sexy football, and Mourinho never really fit that style for them. It was pragmatism, and he won a league title. But so he did that, but it wasn't the football they wanted. You know, they're really fickle. I mean, how much do Chelsea fans care about that as opposed to just success?
I mean, this man is building history because you have to remember Chelsea didn't have so many trophies.
No,
you know,
they did not.
Nowhere near this. You understand? He brought a lot of trophies and he kicked it off at least for them. I mean,
hey,
the FA Cup was
won an FA Cup with them before he came, right?
Yeah, before he came.
Right.
So the FA Cup was always like something.
Sure.
But the league was what
the
they wanted.
A big deal.
And he brought the league to them. And then they won the Champions League and the UEFA without him, of course, you understand. And now he comes back and he brings them the league back. So... you know what you get out of Mourinho, and I totally understand because the Galacticos, you know, at Madrid, those are, you know, the time of like Ronaldo, Zidane, you know, there was the flair and the style and the beauty and all that. Mourinho is just a different way of approaching the game. It's more business-minded. But when he had like the guys, the likes of the turn he did before with Robin and Duff, it was pretty cool to watch. You know, he came out and it looked really, really good when you saw them play. Even playing against them looked good. But now it's a slightly different team because I don't think he's already has the team that he really wants. He's still working. And people don't understand it. And going back to the question you asked me about the Chelsea fans, I don't think a lot of Chelsea fans could care that much. Because if
they're winning a hell of a lot more now than they ever did before, right? So they might as well be happy.
Yeah, I mean, he's bringing you a title, you understand? And I understand the Arsenal fans, the reaction he gave to Arsene Wenger. He hasn't won for so long. But that's also one of the topics that you guys bring up for your own. You know, like Arsenal fans bring that up too. They say, hey, Wenger, you know, bring us something. We want something.
Right.
Because you can win the FA Cup over and over. But this is now, you're going for the second time after the FA Cup. But you won the league now because the league gives you credibility.
Well, I think, you know, we'll get to Arsenal in a minute, but I think the next step for any of us, you know, we'll see second place and an FA Cup as progress. But what for us to see a real step forward is to go back to winning the league, at least being in the title race until the last few weeks of the season, which is something we haven't done. Even last season when we were, you know, led the league for the majority of the season, we weren't there at the end. So do you think Hazard was a fair choice for the PFA Player of the Year?
Yes. I always said that Hazard. I've watched him. He came out of a very difficult World Cup. He didn't perform really well. You understand? And I'm the first to say that because I worked on the World Cup and I have watched him really closely. And I expected a lot from Belgium anyway, and also from him as an individual. And then he comes back to Chelsea He had a lot of he was very criticized by Mourinho before the World Cup already.
Sure.
Going into the World Cup and then comes back at a season and then start the season off the way he did. It's very difficult for a lot of people who don't get it. When you come out of a World Cup with so much expectation, there's a lot of injuries are on the way.
Sure.
There's a lot of physical problems you can have. And this guy just performed from the beginning till now. He's still performing. Chelsea without Hazard is probably you're taking out maybe half of the percentage of the performing of the team. And it sounds maybe cruel to the rest of the players, but at this point, he is too crucial for them.
Oh, and he scored something crazy. I mean, I'm gonna butcher the stat, but it's something he scored somewhere around like 9 or 10 goals in the last 11 or 12 games for them. And how many of those have been 1-0 victories? You know, he's been the margin of victory so many times. He's been so crucial for them.
I agree, and then I look at the contenders. You understand? I'm also a fan of Sanchez because when he was at Barcelona, I always wanted a team in England to get him. So when Arsenal got him, I was like, yeah, finally, because this is
ecstatic.
The man. I like him. I think he's a great player. I think he's definitely in the category, you understand, of pushing like Hazard. Probably the Arsenal fans will probably think he's even better. But for me, it's just like, you know, sometimes you get that little edge also over a player is when your team also win the league. If he's going after the league. Of course.
If everything else is balanced, if you're leading your team to a championship, that makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Look, I think Sanchez has more goals and assists than Hazard, but his team's not winning the league.
That makes all the difference. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting about Sanchez? Let's shift to Arsenal now. You know, he's come in and had this season. We've seen a lot of players take time to adapt to England. Generally, we see a distinct improvement in the second season. You know, if we see this being the case for Sanchez, would you put him up as an early, player of the season candidate for next year? I mean, if you're looking going into the year ahead, I think you have to say Eden Hazard, Alexis Sanchez, and who else? Who would be the third name that you'd throw in terms of being the forerunners of being the best player in the league this next year?
I mean, Keane was going for it, but it will be really tricky.
Kane? Harry Kane?
Harry Kane. He was going for it. And he will have a lot of pressure on his shoulders too, because people are saying like, okay, it's great what you done. They're already starting to see if he could be as good as Shearer. And that's a big name to carry, you know. I've played against him, and it was not an easy guy to mark.
Oh, I can imagine.
Playing against, but Kane is a different player, you know. Right. I think he's probably a little bit quicker, leaner, but is he as good as Shearer? Because Shearer could make stuff happen out of nothing, you know.
Well, I think the big question with him is that, you know, is it a flash in the pan? You know, like we said, you know, this has been his form this season.
Yeah.
I think he's done enough this season to prove that it's not a fluke, that he's a good footballer. But if he's a great footballer, the big question will be is if he can continue to deliver those types of numbers. If he can score 20 goals next season again, then we know it's for real.
That's why sometimes you want to make a comment in the sense of saying, like, don't pressure him as much. You know, let him do what he wants to do.
Sure.
Because when you start matching up, that's what happens really quick in England and also in different countries, of course, that people are saying... they match people up straight away, like, oh, this player, he's as good as him or he's good as that. And that sometimes can create a little bit disappointment. And that's why I totally agree with you. Let's see what he's going to do next season. And if he does well and starts off as good as he did the current season, then you're looking at one of the contenders too. Certainly. And then we are watching, you know, we got to wait to see what Sterling is going to do, you know, like what is he going to do? What is his
Sterling, Aguero, Diego Costa. I think those are all the big names there. Right?
The big names, and then you had like Yaya Toure. I mean, he was so important for City. Soon as he doesn't play well, look what happened to City. You understand? They had a spell when he was away, and they struggled.
Right.
They struggled, and then they started winning games, and people started saying, oh, well, maybe it's not Yaya. And then he came back. They helped him again. Bullshit, They need him.
Of course.
He's very important. But the problem is now physically, he has so much to carry.
Right.
And, man, your body's not a machine. It's going to crack down.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the end, he's coming to the end, man. He's a big man.
Yeah. I mean, it looks, you know, obviously the rumors are, you know, they're going to chase someone like Pogba or someone else to come into the midfield. I pray that doesn't happen because I don't particularly like City, and I do love Paul Pogba as a prospect. But, you know, I know better than to dream about him playing for Arsenal because that's a little too crazy. The money's going to be a little too steep, I would think.
To get Pogba.
I think so. I mean, he's going to be in the Man City, Chelsea territory of spending 60, 80 million.
And then the salaries too. And I know
the salaries
that you guys are holding the salaries down.
Yeah, but so what is your assessment of Arsenal? You said they've come on strong. They've been, in terms of 2015, they've taken the most points. They've been the form team of the year, although unfortunately not the season.
Yeah.
What do you think about them going forward?
I look, my point of view on Arsenal, I always liked Arsenal. From day one when I came, maybe also because some of the players I already played against growing up as a kid, like Thierry Henry, we would play against each other. So whenever we meet, we have a chat. Vieira, I always liked, always had good, conversations with. So some of the French boys I knew really well. So playing against them, it was already a good start. And then playing against one of the greats, Bergkamp. For me, I mean, I played at Ajax. That was my admirer. I would watch him train,
right.
And then stand in front of the window while I had to eat my food. And I was like, leave the food, man. I want to watch him. So playing against him at that point, it was like, it was mesmerizing. But now, that period was really beautiful. Now when I look at Arsenal now, sometimes I feel that they miss a bit of heart, a bit of heart in the sense of like that 2 or 3 players that are so important and can carry the team and make them feel like men. Because sometimes I feel like they're getting bullied easily. And when the French boys were there, people were talking about that. But they had so much quality, they could just skip around anybody.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes that's the difference. So going forward with Arsenal now, I feel they always have a great team. They always have great individuals. You understand? Ozil was the guy they brought in. It was the first move they make, to get a big player in.
Yeah, that's big.
And it's difficult for him physically. I could see that he also saw like, whoa, this league is fast.
Right.
I got to change my game. I really got to adapt to this. Okay, so they said next season he's going to be better. Okay, he got injured, took him a while.
Yeah,
okay,
took us a while.
Brought in Sanchez. Great investment, great player.
Well, and we always knew he was going to be perfect for the league. Watching him play, you knew he was built to be a star in the Premier League.
Yes. Very energetic. If you look at his World Cup, he was literally carrying his team. You understand? He was so fit. So he was so ready in that World Cup. And then coming to this season, still be able to perform.
Right.
Really good. So you might and then you have people like Wilcott, is coming back from injury. You miss sometimes, like Giroud scored a couple of important goals for you. But sometimes you just miss what I'm just saying to you. I feel like in the midfield, is now they're pushing and trying. And Gonzalo, what is it? The Spanish kid I like a lot.
Bellerin, the fullback.
They building now, trying to create a new midfield.
Well, so there's Francis Coquelin, the French midfielder. He's the young one that came back from loan from Charlton. I always liked the way he looked before, but it looked like he was on the outs. But with the injuries, he ended up getting the playing time, and he's ended up, the second half of the season, he's been the best defensive midfielder in the league.
Yes. And then you got Cazorla, the midfield.
Cazorla, Ramsey, and Ozil.
Cazorla, I like.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him.
Well, I mean, if you love football, you love Cazorla. I mean, the way he can play with both feet is something that's a wonder to watch.
Yeah, and that's just a skill beyond. So watching him, I like him, but he needs an anchor. So I hope the French kid can do it, and be the anchor and be the man that they're looking for.
Right.
You need a man there. Like, look at Matic. It's a man who's playing there.
Well, I think there's a fair argument to say that, he's come in and done the job the way we want.
Yeah.
But look, if you want to have the depth to have a real title challenge, you have to have options at that position. And the second option it cannot be Mathieu Flamini. Like, I'm sorry, he's not good enough. And look, Mikel Arteta might have been good enough as part of the squad in that sense, but really, if you want to be world class, his legs are basically done. He's got tons of injuries, doesn't have the pace anymore. You need to have a second option there, and just like up front in the middle, you have Olivier Giroud, who's a very good striker. He's a very good striker. He's not a world beater. He's not going to be the best striker in the league, but if you put him in tandem with another center forward who can also deliver the goods, I think you can really have a competitor.
You know what the answer to that is? Competition makes people better.
Indeed.
Okay, and you don't have that at the moment.
Right.
That's what the problem is. In the middle, you have probably enough players, you understand, to cover.
Sure.
You got Ramsey and all these guys. They all can come in and do their job, and I like Ramsey as well. But probably, the difficulty with Ramsey is just keep him fit. Then you go to Wilcott, keep him fit too, because those are the kind of guys that can change games for you.
Well,
but
it's interesting on the wing, though, because Walcott, has been a bit frozen out. He's been fit for the past couple months. But, him with his contract disputes. And it's interesting how quickly a player's position at a club can change, right? 2 seasons ago, we're coming off back-to-back summers of losing players. You've lost Van Persie, you've lost Fabregas, you've lost Nasri, you've lost all these big names. You know, we were basically bent over the barrel for Theo, and we had to put, pony up $100,000 a week or whatever it is. He's on $100K or something like that, to get him to stay, to sign an extension. At this point now, he's not a first choice on the wings, and we have other options. I mean, how do you feel about a guy like, well, you're talking about guys that need to stay fit. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has showed some great talent, but also has been able to stay fit on the wings. But we have him, Sanchez, Cazorla. There are other options on the wings. It seems like Theo might be expendable and might be one to go this summer.
Yeah, of course, because he wants to play. I mean, I can understand that too. But then you get the next question is who's going to take him? That's also a point, because sometimes a player is so gelled into a certain way of playing. So when he moves away from it, you don't know. I mean, I don't think it will be hard for him to find a different team. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anybody will worry about that.
Well, especially not in England. No. The homegrown rule makes it all so much more likely that it would be to a domestic club.
But it makes it also more expensive. And that's
what we want. In terms of getting the money back from it, that's where we can get the most money. I think selling him to a City or a Liverpool is where you're going to get the most money in that kind of sense.
Yeah, but that's why. So you got to look at it. The balance of your team is great individuals. I love Arsenal. I think it's great individuals, but sometimes, first, injuries, you got to keep them fit. So see where does the injuries come from? What kind of lifestyle, what kind of trainings or whatever they do, you understand? Because I don't think Arsenal really had like some crazy injury period before, and now it feels like the little niggles are picking up. And
well, I mean, that's been a case for the past several years. That's nothing new. And look, we changed the physios. We brought in the German national team physios before the season this year. Shad Forsyth was an American who was taking care of the German team. It looks perfect, right? He was the guy who had them ready for the World Cup. They went on to win it, and he came over now. We still had the injuries. It's tough to say what actually changes it and how much of it's really luck.
Yeah, but why it wasn't as effective and why it wasn't as worrying before? Because you had a lot of backup. You had a lot of backup on different spots. You had, there was a point when you had Wilter, Luenberg, Pires, Powler. Man, anybody could fill that spot.
Sure.
So, and that was the power. That's the power of a champion. The power of a champion is, what is your plan B? If your plan B is capable to deliver the same as plan A, that's when you win titles.
Right.
And that's also where Chelsea isn't always in balance. And that's where Arsenal now is chasing, and Arsenal is coming so close now. So that means next season they need to be pushing for glory.
Certainly.
They have to push for glory.
Well, it seems like all the top teams now, I mean, there's a new standard as to what your depth has to be to win titles. You have to have 2 11s good enough to go out there and do the job day in, day out. Now it's become regular that the number 2 keeper becomes a cup keeper, so you have kind of more competition between the goalkeepers. You have, if you look at Chelsea, look at City, look at what United aren't there yet right now with their squad, but then you look at the big teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid. You look position by position, and there's 2 people, that are fighting it out.
I tell you,
but that's a luxury to have when you can afford to pay them all.
Yeah, but you know what you need? You need a starting 11 who's happy that they are playing, and you need an 11 who's angry because they're not in the team.
Well, that's how it's going to be, right?
That's what you need, because when they're angry, they perform. That's what it is. The game is based on whoever is on the bench. If they're content, they will not perform.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You need to have guys on the bench and go like, really? Is he playing in front of me? Because then when he comes on, game on.
Yeah, that's what they need. They need that hunger, and that's why, it's interesting having that squad balance, because you always know a lot of times there's a player who might be going into this next season and they know they have a chance, but they have to take their chance, and then they don't play and they become unhappy. So balancing the squad stuff. I mean, I feel Arsene Wenger is guilty of being a little bit too kind to players in the sense of they weren't playing, so he wanted to leave. Well, look, you needed the depth. Sometimes they got the manager has people to tell them, look, sit down, you have a contract, and you're going to play your role on this team. I think he's been guilty of being soft about that and letting people go just because they wanted to. Look, I understand the human side of, he cares after these players like he's a father, right? And he wants to see them do well and play. But you have to balance that within the needs of your squad. I mean, people would argue, look, if Giroud had picked up an injury, people would be asking why he let Podolski go out on loan. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I mean, look, I think everybody knows Podolski doesn't have a future at Arsenal. So it's still the right move, but people will make that argument because, who cares? Who cares what he thinks? You have to have the depth in numbers. Obviously, the wing positions we seem to be okay, but it's interesting. It's interesting thoughts in terms of how you have to treat these players, and they have to be hungry. They have to be able to come off the bench.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Who is your leader at Arsenal?
Well, there's a few.
Call me the leaders.
Mertesacker.
Yeah.
Ramsey's one of the new ones. I actually think Aaron Ramsey might be the next captain.
Yeah?
Yeah. I really do. He was given the captaincy of the Welsh team at an early age. That got rescinded, but I mean, he's the kind of guy that looks like he's going to be the one going forward. He's the guy who scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final, and I think he's coming from the right place. I tend to think usually in a team setup, I usually want a center back or a central midfielder as captain. That's just the way I was kind of raised, and that's the way I've kind of seen it. And that's where I see it moving forward. I mean, they've got a lot of veteran heads. Obviously Ozil's not the outspoken leader. Giroud's not that kind of guy either. So you think about it. Well, who are the big characters? Look, Sanchez is the guy who looks like he's not afraid to say something. But you don't really ever make wide forwards captains. That's not really their role in the team.
Uh-huh.
So I think moving forward, I really think Ramsey will be the next guy.
Yeah, because why I'm asking you that is that it's very important. You can't make a captain. You are a captain or you're not.
Right.
You understand? They can give you that armband, but it doesn't
mean
work.
shit.
I experienced the armband myself.
Right.
And they can give it to you, but there are moments in the team that you really have to be able to stand up for yourself. And there are some heated moments in the dressing room. And you have to be able to be the man that can handle that. And I'm not sure if Ramsey would stand up to one of the top boys that they will back off.
Oh, yeah? Well, there's a good story from the Arsenal dressing room. He stood up and knocked Robin Van Persie on his ass a couple seasons back.
But you see, and but for Percy, I don't see him like he's a warrior. I play with him in Holland, so I don't.
Right. Well,
no,
so
you know what I mean.
But I mean, he was captain at the time.
Yeah. No. But why I'm saying it is like Ramsey is a great talent, but I mean the height of him, understand? For me, but maybe I could be wrong. Because you obviously know that story. I didn't know that. Right. And I have to be honest to myself. Look, what you don't know, you can really point out. But the only thing why I'm asking you that is you need more leaders.
Sure.
You need more leaders. Because if he is your leader, then let's say we pick Ramsey as your leader. But
sure.
You need more. Mertesacker is one.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, look, Arteta's the captain, but he's been out all season. So that makes it really tough. He was the wise head, the linchpin, the captain. He'd been very vocal. So he's been a captain in the locker room this season, but he hasn't been on the pitch. So that makes a big difference. So Mertesacker's been the de facto captain. For all the stories that we hear is that he's a great leader. He's good with all the people, and he does a good job of enforcing team rules and all that kind of stuff. But like you said, you got a lot of old heads around the pitch, right? You have some decent experience now, and guys like Santi Cazorla, Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil are all players who've played at the top class, right? 3 of these guys I named are World Cup winners.
Yeah, that's right. But let me tell you something. If you're a captain and you're worrying about being liked, you'll never be a good captain.
Right.
Never. It's impossible.
Well, it's not about being. It's not a popularity contest. No. It's about running the fucking team.
Yeah. Because if you look at people like Mertesacker, it's great, you understand, and maybe he's a great captain, I don't know. But what you need to see is like when stuff goes down, it's him that you look at.
Yeah.
Not as a supporter, but also as a player.
Sure.
So like I give an example. I experienced it at Wigan. There was a point where we were, and I don't want to compare Arsenal to Wigan, not at all, because it's a totally different fish, It's,
right.
But I'm just saying why I'm only the situation I'm comparing. There was a point where we were losing so much, and the confidence was down. You as the captain at that point have to drive the team.
Yeah, you got to lift them up.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what you have at Arsenal too. So when I go back to Arsenal, you need more guys who can do it. And Wigan is a smaller team than Arsenal. So maybe me and a couple more, but me definitely as an individual, I had to do it. And the coach even would look at me and say to me, get on the ball, get us playing, because guys started to get scared. When you look at Arsenal, you have
Who's your manager back then? Was Paul Jewell still there?
I had no, he didn't get me.
That was before,
I had
right?
Steve Bruce,
oh.
And then after Steve Bruce, I had Martinez.
Steve Bruce, but you had him at Birmingham?
Yeah, also.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I had Martinez. No, and then he came to Wigan too.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then Martinez. Okay.
Yeah, and then Martinez came. And Martinez had that situation where he
Sure.
could get us playing.
Of course.
Because he was, we were going down, and then we won the game against Arsenal when they came to Wigan.
Yeah.
And we won on, and I think you guys could be champion, or you were kind of close for it.
Yeah, it was a rough.
Yeah, it was a rough day. But we stayed in the league because of that reason.
We did.
But, okay, I'm not even pointing on that. But what I'm saying is, like, the point I want to prove is, like, I like Arsenal. I like the way they play. I just want to see a couple more leaders in that team because that will make them more successful.
Certainly.
And I think also invest if you have to. But do it wisely, but do if you have to. Because he did it with every year he gets one player. You might have to go for 2 or 3 at one go.
So if you're Arsene, if you can sign 2 players in your starting 11, where do you go? You don't necessarily have to give me a name, but give me the 2 positions where you sign a player.
I would get one more forward. You understand that is
So
capable.
a central striker or both?
Doesn't matter. But in the league of Sanchez.
Sure. Okay.
You understand? Then make Ozil be the floater.
Sure.
That's the setup because
Agreed.
that's his skill, guys.
It is.
You're playing him as wingers. Why was Ronaldo?
Well, he's been
upset?
in the middle. He's been in the middle the past few
Yeah,
years.
but sometimes I see him outside.
But that's just kind of the flow.
Yeah, but still, I feel his best is when
he's
he
a number 10.
sets people up.
Yes.
That's it. That's why Ronaldo was upset when he left.
Oh, of course.
Because he was
because
feeding
he
him.
assisted like 36 of his goals last season. You know?
That's why he is. Okay, so
Yeah.
there you have it.
Sure.
And a midfielder that is capable to get everybody together. You know, when I say we're going right, we're going right. When I say we're going left, boom, that's it.
Sure.
So I at least 2 players I want to see in that team. They need. You understand? It's the heart and one up top.
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, honestly, if I had to make the same thing, I'd go the same way. I mean, in that sense that, like, you're right. Another option, like Francis Coquelin has been a revelation for us as a defensive midfielder, but he cannot be the only person there. You know what happens when he gets injured? You're back to fucking Flamini or Arteta? Not good enough. Mm-hmm. So another option there. Agreed. Center forward / winger, I'm all for it. I mean, look, if a guy like Cavani is ready to leave PSG, sign him up. If you get a guy like Royce from Borussia Dortmund, sign him up. I've already seen how Royce plays with Ozil and their understanding. So that's something great. Like you said, a guy in the league of Sanchez, I think if we're talking that talent, I think Royce qualifies. I think Cavani probably qualifies.
Yeah, but you can get that.
They can do that
Arsenal
now.
is not
They
a team.
can do that now.
They can get that. Arsenal is not a team that can get this kind of players.
Right.
But you got to be aggressive in going after them.
Absolutely.
And you really got to show you want it. And sometimes you got to pay a little bit more.
Well, that's right.
And
that's been a problem.
You got a crocodile in your pocket, man. You got to ask Wenger, man. Get that crocodile out of his pocket,
right?
bro. Because
there's always a big talk. It's always frustrating when there's a guy like Hazard who Arsene was the French papers were talking about Arsenal interest for the 5 seasons prior. Arsene said in a recent interview that he was willing to pay the £32 million for him, but I think it was the wages. I think it was the $200K that Chelsea were willing to put him on that we weren't willing to do. So it gets a little tough, right? Working within a wage structure and all that. But look, Arsenal have the money to spend now. I'm with you. Make the splash, spend it on another valuable player too, and they can really make moves.
Is the stadium every week sold out?
Yes.
So they have the salary to back it.
They do.
There you go, bro.
Look, and they got great commercial deals. There's new money.
It's an amazing stadium. I thank God that I even have played there before. You understand? I retired. It's a beautiful stadium. It won't beat Highbury though.
No.
Because what you had at Highbury, it was magic. Anyone that supports that team.
I've still only been to Highbury. I've never been to the Emirates yet.
You ain't okay. I mean, I don't want to say you're not missing something because it's your team, but away from that, Highbury, man, is something special. It's just sometimes when you walk onto Highbury, there's that pitch you just watch, and all my pictures are coming back. Just beautiful.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic place. I'm really happy I got to see it. I need to go visit England again because the last time I went to Highbury, it was the summer of 2003, and look what happened right after that. They were invincible the year after. So I think I need to go back. If I go back to England this summer, maybe Arsenal fans can find a way to get me there. We'll win the league again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I was the lucky token. I'm not sure. Or maybe it was the fantastic team they had on the pitch. But that's neither here nor there. So let's move to the Champions League. We have a couple very tasty matchups on the cards. A potential Clásico final if the Spanish teams win their ties. But let's start off with Bayern against Barcelona. The first match is in Barcelona, but even since the draw on Friday, there have been a lot of things changing for Bayern. They've gone through a couple devastating injuries. In this match against Borussia Dortmund yesterday in the German Cup, They lost on penalties. All their players missed their shots. You got Lewandowski going down with a facial fracture. We don't know how soon he's going to be back. And it looks like Arjen Robben, their quote unquote best player, is done for the season. How do you feel Bayern stack up, and do you think they have a chance in this tie against Barcelona?
I mean, Bayern is such a good side. I mean, at this point, everybody's talking about Bayern. I think even more than before, maybe because Guardiola is there, and also the history of Guardiola in Barcelona. So that's a really perfect point. But they have a lot of injuries. I know about it because they're trying to build a mask for Lewandowski, to build a individual mask just to save him so he can play.
Oh, yeah.
Rummenigge came out and made that quote, they said like he thinks he's going to make it, that he's going to play. I play with a mask, so I know how it feels too. And a mask is not an enjoyable place to be. I mean, you do it because you're so eager to play, and nothing stops you from playing. If you're not broken enough, you'll keep going. That's what a professional philosophy is as an athlete.
Right.
But then you look at Robben too, what you said, great point, is probably their most influential and important player. They did well without him, don't get me wrong, because they got to that stage without him playing. But he's out, and he's also one of those players that had a lot of injuries, up and down, and you're trying to keep him fit. And sometimes you ask yourself, why is this guy, he's so good, but how does it come that he gets injured so fast? And I'm like, I played at Holland, and sometimes I will train against him. I don't want to touch him because I don't want to break him. You know
right, exactly.
I don't want to touch him.
Between him and Van Persie, how do you touch anybody without them getting into it? Shit.
I know, but that's why. And
it's not the Dutch blood. You can testify that.
No, bro, I never had injury problems, so I've been okay. You understand?
Right,
in my whole career of being a pro for 18 years, my knees were fine. I only broke my foot once, and that was like when I was playing 15 years from retiring.
Sure.
So I've been okay, right?
Yeah, that's well done. Yeah,
and
that's a good.
So that's why I'm saying, looking back at those teams, Bayern. Regardless of the injuries, guys, we're talking about Guardiola that was at Barcelona. If he doesn't know how to play against Barcelona, who else does it?
Well, the big thing is he doesn't have Messi. Messi's on the other side of the coin now. Look, Guardiola is a fantastic manager. He's won titles in Germany now. He's won titles in Spain. He's great. But look, everything he did with Barcelona, he had that team with him. And now he's got to line up against him. So look, I think this tie, if he can pull this off and beat this Barcelona with arguably the best front three they've ever had. Look, in their victory yesterday, they went up to, I believe it's 102 goals now. They crossed the 100-goal threshold for the season for Messi, Neymar, and Suarez. Between the three of them across all competitions, 102 goals now. And the season's not even over.
Yeah.
3 players.
Yeah. But you're talking about the best of the best.
Yes, indeed.
The most exciting players, the guys that want to help each other, the guys that want each other to score, the guys that play the way of enjoyable, they have a smile on their face. That's the team you want to play. And playing in a team like that, when you have forwards like this and you're a defender, you don't worry about attacking. I'm telling you, you just give the ball to them and let them do it.
Yeah, but look at fucking Danny Alves. He goes running all crazy. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm just going to go join.
Because, it's so exciting. It's difficult sometimes to hold back. And I understand that. But there are also games where Danny Alves thinks, hey, I'm away from home. I got a difficult player to compete with now.
Sure.
So let me just focus on him and give them the ball so they will do the magic.
Right.
And I agree. So the problem and the difficult part will be for Bayern will be defensively. That's where it is. Normally, we could say in the heart of the team, the midfield is where it needs. But in the midfield, Guardiola plays identical to Barcelona.
Sure.
So I don't feel like that will be the main focus.
But there won't be a big advantage on that side, right?
And normally the games get won in the middle of the park. But this will be the defensive side. How will he be able to defend? And that is where he doesn't have injuries. So there, he can't say that those are injuries if he loses.
Yeah.
So that's where his crucial part is. How will he be defensively against Barcelona?
So give me your prediction for the tie. Who do you think, who do you think wins this one in Barcelona?
Barcelona wins. Guaranteed.
And who goes through?
Barcelona.
I think I'll have to side with you there. I agree on both counts.
Yeah.
And I think it might be it's hard to go against Barcelona scoring at least a few goals. So I'm gonna go a 3-1 Barcelona at home.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. At home. I might give them 1 goal because I know how vulnerable Barcelona can be at the back too. So I go for 2-1 Barcelona.
2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, that'd be a great result, and it would leave it all open in the second leg. So I like it. I'd love to see that. Let's see what happens. Let's move to the other tie. We have Real Madrid coming off the back of winning La Decima last year. You know, no one has ever repeated as Champions League champions. And you know that's something that they would like so much. You know, even more than La Decima is to be the first ever back-to-back Champions League champions. Now, they're facing Juventus, who have finally reclaimed their space, their place amongst Europe's elite. People are writing them off. Do you think Juve have a chance in this?
Of course. I mean, it's very difficult to go and win a game at Italy. I went there myself when I started, and it was very tough, you understand, against Juve, because they just... That stadium, when you go there, it's very difficult to win in Italy. It's just not easy. And defensively, they are always good at it. You know, Italians are known for that. And up front, a man like Tevez is very difficult to cage. Very difficult.
And he's in fine form. He scored today against Fiorentina. He's been scoring goals. Morata's been in great form as well.
Yeah, but he's on loan from.
No, he was bought. He's bought.
Yeah?
There's a buyback clause, because
Okay.
but he's eligible to play. He can play against Real Madrid.
Okay, that's why I was
He is
worried.
property of Juventus now. There is a buyback clause, but he is not on loan, so he can officially play against his senior team.
Okay, so that's going to be an interesting one because he's definitely want to take this game serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's want to try to perform and show Real Madrid, you should have kept me.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see him playing against Ramos and at the back because if you know them, sometimes playing against your friends is very difficult. I used to have it with Thierry Henry, playing against him. He always used to talk to me. And I always used to tell him, stop talking to me. I don't want to talk to you. And he goes to me, okay, why are you always so serious? I says, shut up, man. Play the game. We speak after. And I know that some players like doing that. They love doing the trash talk and stuff. And me, I hated it. I was like, hey, don't talk to me. If I was like 5 or 6-0 up, you can trash talk to me because I'll be talking to you too.
Exactly.
But when I'm like 1-0 up, I need my focus. So yeah, going back to Real Madrid, and Juve, I do believe Real is going to win.
Sure.
Because I think they have too much going forward. But I do believe that Juve will give them trouble. And way more trouble than I see any of the other games getting it. I think Juve has got it really... They might even have a chance.
So if Juve were to win, who are going to be the players? If you could name, say, 2 players on Juventus that would have to have a really big performance, who would it be?
I mean, everybody talks about Pogba, but I mean...
Well, and the question is he going to be fit?
Yeah, that's the whole point, you understand? So everybody talks about him. But the 2 we just spoke about, I think those are the 2 guys we got to focus on. I mean, Tevez, the eyes are going to be on him. You understand? And then now the lone striker from Madrid, or he's not alone, you just said me, he's got a buyback clause. Those are the 2 guys I go for.
Yeah, and how about in the midfield? I mean, you have Andrea Pirlo, a guy who I think he's about your age, right? Still playing football.
He's an architect. I'm 38, so watching him play is just beautiful. I saw him at the Euro. The way this man plays the game is a dream for any player to be living. He reads the game, understands the game like nobody else, and also has the skills to back it.
Yeah.
Because that's why I might didn't mention him because I'm looking more at the forwards to deliver goals.
Right. Who's going to make the
but I'm a Pirlo man. That's a legend still playing.
Absolutely. So we've said you think that Real Madrid are probably going to go through. I think I'd have to have the same kind of prediction. I'm going to say for the first leg. The first leg is in Turin. It's at the new Juventus Stadium.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think Juve will do enough to get a result, but Real Madrid will get an away goal. What's your prediction? In Italy.
I think you have a chance to win there.
Win at home.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, but it's a tough one. It's so hard, to do predictions. I love it, but it's so hard.
Hey, but every week the Pintcast we always give predictions. So I want to put you. I want to nail you to it. You gotta give me a score, so that our listeners can come back and blame you later when their bets go through wrong.
He is just wrong. Juventus Real Madrid is gonna be 2-1. I think by Madrid is going to take it home.
I thought Juve had a chance.
Yeah, I know, but you put me on the spot.
We put you under the gun, and the prediction is 2-1 from Mario. When you lose your bet, when you get a result, send all your inquiries at Mario Melchiot. Hit him up, blow him up on Twitter. Hit him for it. All right, 2-1. I like it. Look, there you go. Real Madrid getting a result on the road. A huge step towards qualification for the final if they can get that result. Huge coming back home. But yeah, that'd be great. Look, we have an exciting week of Champions League ahead. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. We've got all UEFA are creaming their pants over this matchup because they got all the big guns that they wanted across the different countries. Basically, the only way it could have been better is if there was one less Spanish team and maybe an English team in there for them to get the full medley. But, exciting football to come.
Champions League is one of the most exciting ones to watch and one of the most exciting ones to play.
Of course.
When you come out as a player on the field and you hear that music, of just
I just got chills thinking about it before you even said it. I immediately the hair on my arm stood up. I was just thinking about
one of the most beautiful moments in your life when you stand there and you just look at the camera. You're standing, you're waiting, you're like, yes, I can show the world I'm a man today.
Yeah, it's the biggest stage. I mean, it's the biggest stage year in, year out. Obviously, you'd say a Euro Cup or a World Cup is bigger, but you don't have that every season.
No.
So the one chance you get every year to show what you are to the world is in the Champions League, and that's where the best of the best are crowned and champions are made.
You meet the best of the best.
Indeed.
You play against the best of the best, and it is the best of the best of the tournaments out there.
Right. So who's your pick? Who's going to win the Champions League this year now? I know, putting you under the gun.
Oh, you put me on the gun. If Bayern Munich didn't have so many injuries, I would go for Bayern Munich.
But they do have injuries.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think they go.
So give me a pick.
I love this guy.
There is no getting on the fucking fence here. Right? Like I said, we give distinct predictions.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. That's my pick too. That's my pick too.
Hey, no, guys, he's copying me, man.
I'm on record. I'm saying it. I picked Barcelona to win the league in the beginning of the season. And I picked them to win the Champions League, I don't know, a few months ago once they all started clicking.
Yeah? Okay, good. Oh.
Right, but this wasn't this week. I've been saying Barcelona for a while, so
okay,
I'm with you there.
one.
And I don't even like Barcelona. I got a lot of hate for them for the interactions between Arsenal and Barcelona, but the way those front three are playing, man, a team that's got Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, shit, I'll take them against anybody. You could put a bunch of scrubs behind them. Fuck it, they'll outscore you.
Yeah.
If those guys had to score 5 goals a game to win, they'd find a way.
Yes, I agree. And just the way they play with each other is just extraordinary. Going to Suarez, for example, short, maybe you look at him like, oh, he won't be good. But that's a warrior, man.
He's a monster.
He's a monster. But that's the same with Tevez.
Yeah.
I played against Tevez. If you put a wall in front of you, Tevez will go right through it.
Well, I mean, there was a great analogy. He looked like the Tasmanian devil, right? I mean, exactly. He could be like the Kool-Aid man busting through walls. I mean, he's the kind of guy that will do anything. I love his nickname, too, because I can kind of visualize him, Carlitos Tevez, El Apache. Right? El Apache.
But in his private life, he's so mellow.
Right.
Like, I see when, in restaurants we have a chat, and he goes, hey, Mario, what's up? I say, hey, what's going on? But just so mellow. And then when you see him on the field...
Was that in an Amsterdam cafe? Where were you?
No, in Manchester.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. He looked pretty mellow.
No.
Okay,
No smoking like that, bro.
No.
No, but he is just on the field, so much energy. And he is... quick, guys, because sometimes people don't realize it, but he's got the right pace you need as a striker to get away from a defender, and that's what he had. You understand? And Suarez, different kind of players, but one thing they have identical is they never give up.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, and honestly, I mean, in terms of players that will do anything and everything to win a game, those are the kind of guys you want on your side. And look, we've seen it. I mean, look, I put as the banner on one of my websites. It's Suarez's handball in the 2010 World Cup because that was the only thing he could have done to save his team from being eliminated. And it worked. I was laughing like a fucking madman when that happened because I was like, everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe this handball. And I was like, this guy did the only thing that could have saved him if he pulls it off.
Thierry Henry did it for France.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You know what I'm saying? And Thierry, I'm a big fan of him, and he did it too. I agree. Look, guys. When it comes to winning games, you understand, and when it comes to winning trophies or whatever you can do, sometimes it doesn't matter how you win it as long as you win.
Right. Just win, baby.
That's it.
That's a popular saying of the late Raiders owner, Al Davis. But I think, Mourinho can live by that statement. If your team's winning, you're going to be happy. So let's get to what's happening at the weekend. We have the Champions League next week, some more Premier League action at the weekend. Chelsea are taking on Crystal Palace. With a win, they can lock up the title. Are they going to do it, Mario?
Yes. Crystal Palace is playing really well. But it's going to be at the Bridge, so we're going to see a different Crystal Palace. If it would have been away from home, I would have been a little worried. But going to the Bridge, and Mourinho made a comment already, he said he was really smart. I saw what he said today. He said, the title will only be won if we get the fans believing that we need them to win it. But if the fans are going out there to the stadium and thinking we already won it, we will have a problem. And that was really smart because psychologically, what he's saying is, stand behind us so you will push us to the trophy.
Right.
But if you already expect the trophy to be there, the players will perform like that too.
Right. No complacency.
Smart. Yeah, I agree.
No, wise words. Look, Mourinho's a great motivator. He always knows what he's saying up there. There's always something behind what he's saying.
Of course.
Right? You got to read between the lines, see what he's saying. And there's always an additional message.
But that's only for the people that really understand the game and want to spend more time than just watching the game. If you want to learn about the game, you understand, you also have to watch people like that. How are they building their image and what does he want to get out of his interview? Because every interview is structured. Because the way he speaks, the way he sets it up for his home fans to stand behind the team from the first minute. Did he plan that? Hell yes.
Of course.
Of course. That's what it is. It's like any coach should be able to do that. But some are just good at it, and he's one of it.
Well, so you love predictions so much. We'll go for score predictions on these last couple. I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea win at the Bridge.
Boom! I'm in 2-0.
All right, 2-0.
I wanted to cut you from that. Oh.
I beat you to it. 2-0.
Yeah.
I think they're going to handle it. We also have we do have a lot of Arsenal listeners. We'll preview the Arsenal game as well. At least give a score prediction. They're facing Hull on Monday at Hull. The league will probably already be wrapped up, but second place is still up for grabs. I'm going to go with a 2-0 for Arsenal at Hull as well. What is your prediction there? Give me a score.
It's a really good one. 2-1.
2-1.
You know why? Because I feel like they will go maybe 1-0 down and then push it.
Yeah. I'm with you. That was almost my prediction. I was like, 2-0, we'll get the clean sheet.
Yeah.
We shall see. Well, thank you so much, Mario. It's been a pleasure having you on the Pintcast. Great as always. Follow Mario on Twitter at Mario Melchiot. Check him out. Look for his YouTube page coming soon. And stick around and come back next week. We'll have another Pintcast for you coming up. Thanks, Mario.
Thank you guys for listening.
Jet off on his ass like a Boeing. Gone. So,
you don't like the prestige that I have in life? You don't like the notoriety? You detest the fact that I got more cars than most of you have friends. I got a big house.